Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got the tank review for the brand new Independent Era 2 Premium Medium tank, the Bandit. Now the Bandit is the second mercenary tank that has been included into Cold War behind the Ammo Lad. Or the Ammo Lad's a weird one because the Ammo Lad is actually like, obviously, the A Matter of Life and Death album cover tank that's on there, fully rendered. This is the first true mercenary where it's not a collaboration and it is actually a tank that's made up of parts that's already in the game, and that is it's got a Leopard chassis. I think it's a Leopard 1A3 chassis, I think, maybe, and it's got the T-72 turret and gun. So if you've played a tank like the T-72 Ural or the T-72 M1, you have a very good idea of what this T-72 gun is like. And you also have, that's me, not you, by the way, sorry. You also have, like I said, the T-72 turret, which is okay, but it tends to get penned a decent amount. On the whole, I think the Bandit is an okay tank. I don't think it's anything to shout home about. It makes you pretty decent credits. The shell velocity is pretty nice, but the gun handling can be a bit troll at times. It gets penned all the time. It's very much like a Leopard, but obviously you have a bit of give with the turret, because the turret can ricochet shots, like any T-72 turret can, but most guns in the era can just still go through the turret. I think it's a pretty good tank to get for free, though. Basically for free. You know, it's with the Season Pass for 2,000 gold. And I think a fair amount of people will enjoy it. I think a lot of people will get held back a little bit by the 6 degrees of gun depression that this Bandit has, because it does have 6 degrees of gun depression, which is a little bit of a letdown at times in the era. But the mobility is fantastic for it, and like I said, the shell velocity is great for some of the shots you can take in this thing. But without further ado, let's go have a look at the statistics of the Bandit. And as you can see, you've got a 950 horsepower engine with a 17.6 kilometre an hour top speed, odd, 32.4 kilometre an hour reverse speed with a 22.37 horsepower per ton ratio. This horsepower per ton ratio, you will basically hit this 70 kilometre an hour top speed very, very easily, and it's a very, very mobile tank. You can also get out of dodge going backwards at 32 kilometers an hour very quickly as well, which is really, really nice for the Bandit. If you run a traction system, you can get up to 77 kilometers an hour, and boy, do you hit that 77 kilometers an hour. There's lots of things you can do to the Bandit, though. There's lots of different ways you can set it up. I like to run the traction system because I like to make the most of this mobility, but there's many, many other ways you can do it. You got 10% fire chance, which so far in the 20-odd games I've played in the Bandit, I actually don't think I've been set on fire yet. So that's something that goes for it. It's a fairly low fire chance. You got 2.6k hit points, which is a decent slab of hit points. Although there's a fair few tanks that are starting to hit 3k in the era, but 2.6 is good enough. You got 50 degrees a second hull rotation speed, which is absolutely rapid. Which helps this tank to feel really, really mobile. If you put a traction system on, you will get up to 55 kilometers an hour on that. You have 1.65 soft terrain resistances, 0.75 on medium, and 0.65 on firm. These ground resistances do not hold you back whatsoever. You do hit that top speed. You've got 358 meters of steel concealment, which you put camo on it, because I do have camo on it. It's the one thing I can't remove, which is decent. You can set that up to have like a camo net if you wanted to have even better camo. There's lots of things you can do with that. And you got 495 meters view range, which is pretty solid for an Era 2 medium tank. You've got 36 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed, which is far slower than the hull rotation, so bear that in mind, that this turret feels very slow when it's turning, and it feels very slow to get the gun on target, so you want to run something like rapid aim to make this turret traverse even better. And running something like the traction system does go against you a little bit, because it makes the track traverse even faster than the turret, which makes it feel even worse, generally, that turret traverse. You got 1.26 accuracy during rotation, which isn't that bad, but it's also not that good. There's a fair few tanks that are starting to push below 1 accuracy during rotation in Era 2, so that could be better. You want to help that with vertical stabilizers if you can. You got 14 degrees of elevation, which is fine. You got 6 degrees of gun depression, which is not that nice. Makes it very, very awkward, and means you have to overexpose a decent amount in a lot of areas for this tank to be able to get its gun down to hit the target. It's still usable. It's not like it's 3 or 4 degrees gun depression, not like a Tyran 6, is it? Yeah, Tyran 6 I think it is, where it's got 3 degrees of gun depression. It's horrid, like the T-62 as well. But 6 degrees it makes it awkward on this Leopard chassis. It really does. You got a 9.8 second reload, which isn't too bad, which is 3.3k DPM. I feel with the Leopard hull and the fact that your armour isn't the best, I would like that just to be a little bit better, and it would make this thing sort of glorious, but it'll do. You got 0.35 accuracy, which is not too accurate for Era 2, but it's still not bad. You will still hit a fair amount of shots, but the thing is, with the 2.2 accuracy during movement, the accuracy during rotation, and this 0.35 accuracy, this gun, compared to a fair amount of tanks at Era 2, feels fairly derpy at times, and it can be a little bit frustrating. You'll see that in some of the replays where the gun just decides, no, not hitting that shot, not today. Nope, don't feel like it. It does that quite a lot. You got 2.3 second aim time as well, which is a little bit long. You could work to get that down if you wanted to. It's completely down to you and how the gun handling feels and how comfortable you are with it. 44 rounds of ammunition is absolutely fine. You've got APFSDS, heat, and HE. Now, the heat rounds, Era 2, you're not going to take any heat rounds. The HE rounds are pretty decent, so you're only going to take a couple. You're mainly going to be firing the APFSDS in it. And with those rounds, you've got 408 penetration on the APFSDS, you've got 420 heat pen, and 145 pen on the HE. Now, the HE is pretty decent for penning the really low health targets, but to be honest, I only really have it for splashing tanks that are basically like 100 hit points or less to kill them, like a 4-2-1-1, because you do have 550 damage, alpha damage. You got 550 alpha damage on the standard round and 690 on the HE. You can pen a Leopard's lower plate with 145, so that's something to bear in mind for you, that you can pen a Leopard's lower plate, and there's a few tanks like the Leopard and the 4ADs and all the AMX-30s that you can pen in the lower plate with this HE, and that means that this 690 alpha will be filthy. But do I recommend using it? Because on a lot of the time, probably not, because 145 pen is not enough for a fair amount of tanks as well, which makes it awkward if you do load it. And it's not good enough to have the ammo to, chuck something out to put the ammo swapper on to use it. It's not like something like the Chieftain 120 or like any that use that Chieftain gun that has 290 Hesh pen and stuff like that. It's just a bit more awkward. You do have 1,785 meters a second shell velocity on the APFSDS though, which is absolutely phenomenal and means that you don't have to lead all that much. The shell velocity is beautiful on this tank. You've got 905 on the heat and 820 on the HE, so if you do switch to the HE, bear in mind that the shell velocity drop off is massive to the standard rounds. And you do have 165% silver bonus as well, which is really, really nice for the tank. It means you'll make a hell of a lot of credits with it, which is good for saying you're getting it for 2,000 gold. If you get the season pass. But then, with the season pass at 2,000 gold, you also get that gold back, pretty much. So in terms of equipment on the Bandit, if we put the food on you could run smoke if you really wanted to and pop smoke so you don't get shot at, but I like to run food to maximise the DPM, accuracy, aim time, all that good stuff. I run the advanced loader to make the DPM as good as possible, the vertical stabiliser because like I say the gun is a bit derpy, and I do run the traction system to make the tank go at 77 kilometers an hour, but like I say, there is plenty of ways that you could run this tank. You could run the camo net instead. We've got 358 meters of steel concealment. You could knock that down to 288, which is really pretty solid, if we're honest with that. You could run the GLD to make your aim time better. You could run vents to make the DPM, accuracy, aim time, everything about the tank better if you wanted to. If you wanted to use that HE more, you could run the ammo swapper if you wanted to as well. There's many, many different ways you can set up the tank. You have to set up the tank to how you're going to play. You could also run optics if you wanted to just make your view range absolutely phenomenal. It's completely down to you. It's down to personal preference. And in terms of a crew, I've put it in the ammo lad, so do you mind giving me my crew from the ammo lad? Why, there it is. I usually just ping straight to it, but okay. Let's go put it in the old Bandit, there we go. And in terms of a crew on the Bandit, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Trap Mechanic, Rapid Aim, and Deadeye for the memes. I run Deadeye for the memes because I like to set people on fire and do Amarak damage and stuff like that with it. But to be honest, is it the most useful skill in the universe to run on this tank? Probably not. So I run the 3 gun perks to make sure that this gun is as good as possible. These 3 you are always going to take. Always, always, always. You're going to take these 3 to make your gun as good as it can be because the gun, like I say, is a bit annoying. Trap Mechanic in case I get tracked so I can run away. And it's especially helpful if you see a rocket, if someone tracks you and then fires a rocket, you can try and pull back behind the ridgeline. You do pull back very, very quickly. Rapid Aim, because like I say, the track traverse is faster than the turret by a country mile, so I want to make sure that the turret can can try and catch up some way. And Deadeye, like I say, for the memes. But Deadeye you could get rid of if you wanted to quite easily to run something like Clutch Braking to make the track traverse better. But do I want to make the track traverse better as well as the turret? Probably not, because it's already good enough. You could run Camouflage Expertise to make the camo better, and especially if you run a camo net, that could be quite nice. Safe Storage to save your ammo if you wanted to, because it does get ammo racked a little bit, so, you know, saving your ammo like that. Supply Conservation for getting your food or your smoke back quicker is always nice. Situational Awareness to boost your view range. You're not boosting it with optics, you might still want to boost it up with the situational awareness, or you could run something like Mark Target to make sure that things you're spotting stay spotted for longer, because obviously in Cold War, things don't stay spotted for very long, so that might help you to get view range. But that, I run that crew, that's basically the template I run. Deadeye, like I said, Deadeye's the extravagant skill, is the way I'd say. It's not much point to it, but it's up to you whether you want to do it. For the memes. For the memes! So, these are the skills, well, this is the stats while fully skilled out and equipped. You got 77.66 km an hour top speed with a 35 km an hour, 35.64 km an hour reverse speed. So you've gone up 7 km an hour there and 3 km an hour here. Your ground resistances have got slightly better because of Born Leader. Your view range is now 537 meters view range, again because of like Born Leader and stuff. You've got 43.7 degrees a second on the turret traverse, which is way quicker than it was, way faster than it was. Trying our best to help it to get up towards that hull rotation speed. You got 0.84 accuracy during rotation to, well, it's better than the 1.2, which is nice. And oh yeah, your hull rotation has also gone up to 55 degrees a second instead of 50. This is why I say you might not want to run the traction system, because obviously that, if that stays at 50, that has got a lot closer and is a hell of a lot nicer. So yeah, that's down from the 1.2 it was, which is nice. You've got a 7.15 second reload with 4.6k DPM. Again, you can knock that down to below 7 if you run vents. You've got 0.28 accuracy now, which is pretty good, but again, it still feels a bit derpy at times. 1.4 accuracy during movement, which is, again, knocked down quite a lot from the 2, but once again, it's still not the best, and this thing firing on the move, I've tended to miss a lot of shots with it, so it's something to bear in mind. And you've got 2.12 second aim time now. So the aim time is still a little bit slow at times, it can feel a little bit annoying to wait for that shell to get, well, that gun to get aimed in. So if you're to run, say, let's have a quick look at running the GLD instead of traction system, say because, you know, you want to keep the track traverse down, you've now got a 1.8 second aim time, which is really nice. And if you, say, wanted to run vents, let's have a quick look at that as well. While we're here, you can see, knock it down below 6.97 seconds. You can knock it below 7 seconds reload. You're at 6.97 now. You've still got the 0.28 accuracy at 100 meters. Your turret rotation's actually got even better with the vents to 44.85 degrees a second. Your accuracy during rotation's got a little better. Your actual accuracy during movement's got even better as well because of the vents. And your aim time's down at 2.08. So this is the benefit of having something like vents. And obviously your view range has gone up as well. So that's the benefit to running something like vents on this tank, because you can make just everything about the tank better. And, it makes it a pretty decent amount better as well. There's many ways you can run this tank. It's completely down to you. But yeah, the Bandit, it's a pretty decent tank. It's not anything absolutely outstanding. I do think it's probably worse than a Leopard 1A1, which is obviously a tank we've already had in a season pass way in the past. But it's a pretty decent tank. It'll net you some good credits. You'll do okay with it. You just got to remember that you don't have any armour and to play it very much like a Leopard. Although your gun depression will let you down a fair amount too, which can be awkward and annoying. It's just one of those things. I feel like this tank is pretty decent, but it's also very awkward in a lot of situations, which can be a bit frustrating. But anyway, I'm going to send you all over to the replays where you can watch this tank in action, make your own mind up on the tank, and see how it handles. So as always, everybody, I will send you over to the replays. Enjoy them. So here we are in the replays with the Bandit, and this first game we are on Corellia. And on Corellia, what I'm going to do is I'm going to charge down the K-line and hopefully start getting some shots from the low ground around J9 and try and get shots up across the 9-0. Because if you can get into the low ground and get there quick, which is why I quite like having the traction system, because, I mean, you just see how fast we are going. We're going at 77 quite easily, pretty much, in this Bandit. If you can get the low ground, you can get hull down, you can cut off their charge very, very quickly and very, very easily down the 9-0. And it stops them having a foothold in this area, pretty much. It's nicer if you have gun depression. This is where the Bandit's a little bit awkward, because you have to work a bit further out and you have to expose yourself just a little bit more to get the shots in, but you can still have a decent time with it. As you can see, so far it's 1200 damage with 2 shots into that 30B. He ends up penning us with heat, straight through the turret front, and we do get to shut him down. We're now looking to shots into the side of this Enigma, who's pushed very, very aggressively and giving himself side shots in for us. So we're just trying to get some shots into him. We get another shot into his side there, and he's decided to go, well, with smoke pops, rushing into our team. There's actually a Leopard 1A3 and something else sat back there, so we get a nice shot into the 1A3, pop back behind the smoke, so we're staying safe from them and waiting on our reload. We go for a shot into the side of the turret there of the T-55 Enigma, and unfortunately, it doesn't go in. It just bounces off the Enigma's side turret, upper plate. I don't know, I'm not quite sure where that went, really. We try and get a shot into the M60A3 on the move, but unfortunately that shell goes absolutely nowhere near. We try and RBRT the shot into the 1A3 on the move, but the shot goes nowhere near. Like I say, this tank is not good at shooting on the move, realistically, as we hit that shot on the move, of course. And, yeah, you notice that it does that. There's a fair few tanks where you can hold that lock on and you'll probably hit, but this tank is not one of those. So we make sure we try and aim. We aimed for the back drive wheel there of the M60A3 to try and track it in place, give us some assistance, but unfortunately we didn't track it. We do track it that time, and the Magak 5 ends up finishing off, giving us some free tracking damage, which is nice. We try and go for the shot into the back of the T62, but unfortunately we don't get it, and we spot this Scorpion 90. It's like, hello, Mr. Scorpion 90. I'm going to get a shot into you, and then you're getting rammed, my son. Get rammed. And we ram the Scorpion 90 to death there. We're up to 5.1k damage, 433 assistance. We spot the M113 that is charging this way, and I'm on a mission. Another shot on the move, because of course. And we want to ram this guy. It's like, hello, sir. Get a good ram into the M113. Slam him with another shot, and the Sheridan shuts him down. Something starts to machine gun us, and it's like, what are you doing, sir? We get a shot at them, but unfortunately we only do module damage. We don't actually track it. And there is no one in their team that can actually get back to reset our guys in the cap. They've got one guy in our cap, and they've got people on the hill. But we are going to end up capping this game out, which it was 7v7. It's very, very equal. And it was probably a good thing to cap there, because we probably would have lost if they tried to cap. And finish with the epic victory. 3 kills, 6.7k damage, 1136 base XP. Top of the team, obviously, as you can see. A pretty decent game for the Bandit there. Make 220,000 credits, the 3rd class. And yeah, the 1136 base XP for 3 kills. That was, what, 7.1k damage? Pretty damn nice game for the Bandit on Corellia there. And yeah, you got to see the tank realistically in that replay. You got to see how good the mobility is, the fact that people can still pen you through the turret armor quite easily. I mean, you saw heat rounds from an AMX-30B there go straight through the turret armor. You saw the mobility, you saw the gun handling as well, where sometimes the shot just goes, no, nope, not today, and it misses. And you're missing most shots on the move, although we did hit 1 or 2 on the move, but they were sort of straight on shots quite close in by that point. So we're on to the second game, and this second game is where the Bandit falls down a little bit, because we're on Great Wall. And on Great Wall, we're coming up here to HG3, and yeah, this is not quite the best spot for the Bandit, because you only have 6 degrees of gun depression, which makes it extremely awkward, but we're going to try our best. So we get a nice shot through the top of the Leopard 1's turret. And we're just waiting for the reload now to see if we can get another shot into any of these guys. The Leopard 1 is turning the other way. And unfortunately, we end up just aiming a little bit poorly there and snapping the shot into the ridgeline. There's a TR-125 that's now coming over, so we're just waiting for the shot straight through his lower plate. Now we're going to pull back as fast as we can. And did I say this thing has no armor? Well, okay, we just ricochet the TR-125 there, and we end up getting the killing shot on that guy. The light tank next to me ends up popping smoke, and then the 4-2-1-1 starts to come round. It's like, okay, no, we can't stay here, guys. This is not going to end well for us. Me as a bandit, it's not going to end well because, well, I've got no gun depression, and I'm going to end up bleeding so many hit points. And there's only like 3 of us against a lot of their team here. So what we've done is we've backed up to a position where we can start trying to put the shots in. And unfortunately, the IDF gets shut down by the Leopard 1, and this is where we really had to fall back, because now they're starting to push very aggressively through that middle area We get a shot through the lower plate of the FV4211, and now we're on the move again because they are coming down that hill, and I'm looking at going, are they going to charge down? Yep, they are charging down the hill, which means that we're not going to be able to, well, we'd die. We'd get swarmed and die very, very quickly if we just stayed in that position. You got to keep falling back at times. You can't just stay in one position and think, right, I'm here now, that's it. You have to think, okay, am I going to survive this? Am I going to be able any use here? No. Keep moving. So that's what we've done in this game. So we got a shot through the Leopard, we get another shot through the 1A1. The Leopard 1 ends up getting shot through my upper plate, and I'm looking around going, have we got people coming to help? Yes, we do. Good times. And we are trying to fight on a ridgeline. This is where the 1A1 is going to do much better than us. He ends up overexposing. We get a shot through him. The other Leopard ends up shooting him, and the 30B2 ends up finishing him off. We're up to 4.7k damage, and now we've got this 4211 coming over. We get a shot through his track to track him in place. And our gun depression is just failing us in that situation there. We just look for another shot through the 4211's lower plate there, but unfortunately it ended up missing. Now he's focusing on the other guy. We get a shot through the side of his armour, waiting for the reload, and hopefully get to shut the guy down if we can, but he ends up ramming, I think that he ends up ramming the forad, or the forad ends up machine gunning his ass, and yeah, gets the kill. And we finish the game with 5.2k damage, the third class, the 1324 base XP. Pretty average game again for the Bandit there. Again, showing what it can do and the limitations yet again of it. The gun depression is a limitation of the Bandit and can make it a little bit awkward when you are playing the tank. And we're on to the third replay. In the third replay, we are on this map, which is... it's right in front of your face, you moron. Serene Coast. It's right there. It says it on the screen. Sometimes, you have to read. Yep. So on Serene Coast. Yeah, okay. English. On Serene Coast, we are going to go to C1. And at C1, hopefully, we can use the ridge line to start pummeling shots again down the one line, stopping them pushing up to the position that we want to be at. Because from this position at C1, you can also get great shots down towards their base using true vision and if they do get spotted. So as you can see, we've caught out the Magak 3 here, so we get a nice shot through the Magak 3's upper plate or lower plate, one of the two, get through his hull anyway. We can pen that quite easily. We go for the shot through the front of the turret of the Magak 3, but it doesn't end up going through. I thought I might have enough pen to go through that, but we didn't. We get another shot through his upper plate. We've put him down to about half health now, and he's at a position where my gun depression is going to fail me. We try and get a shot through the side of the Leopard to a V there, but unfortunately we just hit the ridge line in front of him, which means we end up missing that shot. Now the Magak's coming over. We tried to get a shot into his drive wheel to pen and track it, but unfortunately we only tracked the Magak. And I'm just kind of hoping we get some help now, because this is where my gun depression is going to fail me. The Armadillo ends up coming in. It's like, hello, Mr. Armadillo. Let me try and get some shots into you. We don't take light tanks mucking around lightly around here. And the BMP comes over, and... great driving, BMP. He ends up shutting himself down there. Thank you for that, BMP. The Armadillo ends up getting shut down because he's driven into a silly place, and now we are in a position where we can actually start getting shots into the Magak, because the Magak's pushed forward very, very aggressively, and we ended up tracking and penning him, and the Sheridan machine gunned him. Now we're just going to go full all in on this 2AV. We get the tracking shot into the AV, which damages Amarak as well. The light tank ended up, or medium tank, sorry, ended up popping smoke. So that meant we were safe from the guys in their base, and we managed to get the killing shot into the Leopard 2 AV there. Now we're going to move up as quick as possible to get towards their base, hopefully maybe spot something up, but also get safe within the ridge lines. There is this Conqueror Mark II that's driven out in front of us, and unfortunately that shot on the move onto the Conqueror Mark II ends up missing. Just look for a shot into the Leopard 1A5, which we get in. We're up to 3.3k damage, and this Conqueror Mark II is in a position that I really want to track and pen this guy. And unfortunately, just as we fire, the Conqueror Mark II ends up getting blapped by the Bimp with his ATGM. Not a good time for us, because that would have been nice to get out of damage. The 1A5 is about to get swamped by my whole team, so I decide, okay, I'm not going to get anything on that 2A5. We may as well rush behind the two mediums over there and the TD and start getting shots into them, because like I said, we're not going to get anywhere near that 1A5 before he gets shut down, and then we'll be racing those guys along the K line to get behind these guys anyway. So we now get behind the mediums here. It's like, hello, sirs. We get the shot into the side of the leopard one. Could have aimed that a little bit better. We might have had a tracking shot there on him. And we'd have got some lovely tracking assist from that bimp if we'd done it. Object 120, we get a shot into him. And I decide, okay, I'm just going to ignore the 30B a minute. We're going to start getting some shots into the 120 because he's starting to run away. Now the 30B2 is starting to look at me. We actually bounce the 30B2s round there. And we get the shot into his track to track him in place and hopefully get some assistance on him. But he ends up repairing, and we know we can kill him, and we end up finishing off the MX-30B2. There's only one tank left on the enemy team. It is a WZ-122. Pixel shot, of course, it ends up flying in and disregards the fact that I said this gun is really annoying at times. Finish the game with the epic victory. 3 kills, the 6.1k damage, 1559 base XP for the Bandit. We ended up getting a decent amount of assistance there as well because tracking is really, really nice. We ended up getting 2.8k tracking as well with the second class. Another pretty decent game for the Bandit, showing it off what it can do, what it can't do, you know. And we're on to the final replay of the video, and this is probably the best game I've had in the tank, and I ended up having this on stream. And we are on Duckler Pass. Now with Duckler Pass, obviously, when I see it in Cold War, the first thing that goes into my mind on Duckler Pass is, well, we're all going to charge down the J line and then up the 1 line. They're all going to charge down the B line and then down the 0 line. Well, thankfully, because it's team destruction, we don't have to worry about the enemy team capping us out. So it doesn't really matter too much if we push too aggressively down one side and get caught out, because we don't have to worry about actually coming back to defend the base, because there is no base. So what we're going to do is we're going to charge pretty quickly down this J line and see if hopefully we can get to a position like J3. Depends on if we end up finding anything or finding any tanks. So we're pushing up to the rock formation in front of us, like I say, because that actually gets us safe from the enemy tanks, and we can start hopefully shooting the people, as they come down. So we go for the shot at the drive wheel of the Magak 5, and unfortunately the shot ends up hitting the dirt. The Magak 5 is now tracked, so we make sure we aim the shot fully. It goes straight through, but the Magak 5 also pens us through the turret. Like I say, the T-72 turret is nice because it can ricochet shots, but to be honest, it's also just not that good, because it just the amount of penetration that everyone has in this era, once you get into like 400 to 450 pen, the T-72 turret is not worth much at all. All it has is those sorts of angles where the occasional shot will end up bouncing off your turret, which can be decent, but you just don't want to rely on it. So we managed to get a shot through the Leopard. We get another shot through the Leopard 1 there. He is full charging, ends up doing something. He ends up doing something, and he clearly just did not want to be in this game. We go for the shot through the side of the 4211's turret, and it just ends up flying over the 4211, which is cool. We end up going for the cupola of the 4211, but we bounce. We're up to 1600 damage so far with 805 assistance, and this 4211 is currently a bit of a block, and we're just trying to see if we can feather any more shots on him. We're going for the cupola shot there, and unfortunately, again, it just goes high and ends up missing the 4211's cupola. Just seeing if we can get a shot through his drive wheel, maybe pen it, but we end up going for the side of the turret and end up, well, we aimed a little bit too low there and ended up hitting the side space armor, which meant it missed. And now we are coming over the top to see if we can get some shots into the Chieftain Mark 5. We get a nice shot through the side of the Chieftain Mark 5. We're going to try and get another shot in, but we're really over-peaking here, and this is because of the gun depression problem. He ends up penning us. We bounce off his upper plate, so we're going to change the angle, because that angle did not work for us. We have to make a better angle for ourselves. So we go for the shot into the side of the Magak 5, but unfortunately we get there just a little bit too late, so we ended up missing the side of that guy. Now we're going for the shot into the side of the Chieftain Mark 5, and thankfully the shot goes straight through the side of that guy. The Magak 5 is now coming for us, and that is just a poor shot. We shouldn't have taken that shot. He ends up, well, we destroyed the destructible cover, which saved him, gave him a free shot into us, because that was covering us too, and we shouldn't have taken the shot, but thankfully he ends up missing one. We end up getting a shot into him, and now we're just going to end up shutting the Magak 5 down, who probably could have got another shot into us there, but he just made the mistake of driving into the building. So we couldn't quite find a shot into that heavy tank on our left. We're now looking for a shot into the Chieftain, but we can't quite see it because he's pulled back. Now he's pulled forward. We can actually get a shot through the turret front of the Chieftain Mark 5, because the turret front of the Chieftain Mark 5, again, is one of those that has angles. That means you can bounce the odd shot, but generally, if you just shoot them in the face, you will pen chieftains and stuff like that in their face. We're up to 805 assistance with 479... What, 4,799? There we go, 4,799 damage. And currently most of their team that's left is in this dip at G56. So we're going to get down there, see if we can try our best to help out. So we come charging down. There's a T92. We go for the shot into the T92. And unfortunately, we end up missing that shot. Just waiting for the reload. Now this Enigma's coming. I want the tracking shot on the Enigma. We go for the tracking shot, but unfortunately we don't track him, but we do full pen him, so we'll take it. Someone pops smoke, which means that this T92 is now the only tank that we can all shoot. So we get a shot through the T92 there. We end up getting detected because something's pulled around the corner. They shoot us, but we get a nice shot through the T92 there that sets him on fire. And just before he goes down, he ends up popping smoke, which is beautiful because that ends up saving us a bit of HP there. We're up to 6.5k damage. We're just going to pop round, see if we can get some shots into these guys. We don't know what we shot because of the smoke, but we did pen. It looked like the T72M1. And now we're nearly loaded. Our team is behind their team, and they're starting to get distracted and starting to have shots put into them from all angles. The T72M1's coming after us. We get the shot in to shut him down. Now there's only one tank left on the enemy team. It is the T55 Enigma, and he gets shut down by the AEV. We finished the game with a really nice total for the Bandit on Duckler Pass. We finished with the victory. Top of the team, 2 kills, 8.2k damage, 805 assistance, 266k made. First class, the high caliber, 1597 base XP. A really nice game for the Bandit. And that's the tank that you're going to get at level 100 of the Season Pass if you pay the 2k Season Pass. It's a pretty decent tank. Is it outstanding? No. Is it bad? No. It just can be very awkward in certain situations, and the gun can get a little bit frustrating. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!